The wing of the fly is off a fly called the candy floss, and the body, well, the bodies, I'm going to be using a material called tail lights. There we go. It's called tail lights neon effect cord, right? Now it comes in a packet, and you get, there's 4 colours that I've got. Obviously I've used the pink on this fly here. You get a lime green, a chartreuse, one to have, you know what to use for that, and a nice fluorescent orange. Now, as you can see, I actually put it on a spool. These are old spools. I just take out the packet and wind it on. It's much easier to dispense. You don't get it in a spool, but it makes a great body, certainly worth tying. Now, I've used a double on this fly. Basically it shows it off at its best. Tie in a double or single or whatever you like. It's up to yourself. But the hook I'm using is a Camasan, and it's a B270 or D270 size 12. Okay, just sit up a wee bit so you can see it. Nice and tight. Now I'm going to be using the fire orange thread, and it's an 8/0. Simply start it, the eye of the hook, touch and turns, run it down until you're in line with the point of the hook. Don't go any further than that. Basically the reason I like doing this is because if you go any further, normally you would stop in the line with the barb, but I want a reasonable tail, so if you tie the tail in back here it's going to be shorter. Here it's much longer if you get a nicer movement, better movement in the fly, so I would stop in line with the point. Now, marabou I'm using, this is a nice white, it's called spring water blue. You want a couple of pinches of the white marabou, just tear it off and break the point to get the best of the marabou. Then just clear the fine stuff away, tie it down. Now, I'm tying this as a competition fly, so the full length of the fly should be no more than 15/16 of an inch. So make sure your length of your tail is correct. Now what I'm going to do is just leave that there just now. This is your tail lights. The reason tail lights was given to it is it was originally tied as tail. It's got a fibre optic effect. If you look, the tip really it lights up. That's like a fibre optic. And they were tied in bunches and they're using tails. Terrible looking fly as far as I'm concerned, like, but better as a body material. Now as you see, I've cut it, put it into a point or a taper. Now I'm casting it on my side. A couple of turns just to hold to show you. So I've just got it in there. I'm not catching the full length of the body. I normally would do that with most materials, but this is very heavy, so by cutting into a point like that makes it much easier to tie in. Then touch and turns, run it up, tying in the cut ends of the marabou. Right up until the point where your head would start is there. Then take the thread back down. Now on the way back down I would recommend tie in your underbody, and your underbody is going to be Mirage Opal, and this is large. Now this makes a difference to the material. You see how shiny it is? That there really lights up the material and makes a big difference. You can use whatever colour underneath you like. It'll boost the colour whatever you want, but this here, if you want to boost the colour of the pink or the chartreuse or the lime green, then this is the stuff to use. Touch and turns or so, run it down to get to the tail itself, and then bring the thread back up. And then just an underbody of your Mirage, run it up, this point here, nice and tight, 2 or 3 turns to tie it down. Now this again is an important part of the fly. You can use varnish or you can use, like what I'm going to use here is super glue. Super glue is an instant adhesive, and whenever the tail lights material touches it, it sticks. and at the same time it highlights it even more. As you see, watch, as you wind up, it's nice and bright. Now I'm really putting good strong turns here. As you can see, the hook's moving with it. Now once you get to the top here, you bring your thread up beside the material and put a good 90-degree bend into it and keep the thread tight. It's important that you do. Keep the material going that 90-degree bend. A good half a dozen turns in there. And then trim it at a point, at an angle like that, so you've got a tapered cut. If you get a tapered cut, then you can get a tapered head. It's much easier if you do that. Take your thread down, back up. Now if you cut it straight, you're going to have a step. You don't want that. That step's going to be hard for you to form a nice head. Then what you do is, just then, a couple of pinches of white marabou again. This is your underwing. Get the best of the marabou and break it. Then, again, what I like to do is, see all this excess fluff, draw it back. See the space you make? Well, that there gets your thread turns closer to your head, less bulk, and it's much more secure. Just tie it down, trim away the waste, and before you do anything else I would carry on down and bind these in. Now you want your candy floss pink. It's a very light pink, looks very washed out. You want a couple of pinches of that as well. Just roll it in your fingers. Get the best of the marabou, look at it. There. Pinch them apart where you don't need to take away the points it's broken out the road. Then look at your wing length, put it in the top, and again clear away these fluff and fibre underneath. Just take it away, tie it down. Once you've done that, trim away the waste. A good half a dozen turns. Any fibres going forward of the eye, just trim them away, just hold the wing out of the way. Now you can start your turns of thread from the front and wind it up towards the wing. Times it's easier to do that. Building the thread up from the front to the wing, of building steps of thread turns up, will push and form a nice taper. See that nice taper you get? That's just by bringing it from the front up. Now for the eyes, I've got 2 jungle cock eyes ready and waiting here. 2 nice eyes. You can use a single jungle cock eye, a big one, and split it. If you've got plenty of split ones, just use them. Then 2 eyes on top. Sit them one either side. Can a loose wrap or 2, just to see how they're sitting. If you're not happy, go back. So we double check where they're sitting. They're not sitting exactly straight. Come back in. Hold them. Say a couple of 2 or 3 turns of thread just to make sure it's not going to move for you. Just keep hold of the thread just now and look. See how they're sitting. I'm happy with that then. Just continue down. These ends here, with your nail, you can lift them up. You could cut these away before you take the thread down, but see if you do this, they'll never pull out. They've got to break off. Bring the thread from the front and work your way up. You're the boss when it comes to this. Just take your time, forming your head. The 8/0 thread's fine enough that you can do this. You're happy? Just keep the thread tight and go straight in for a finish. Just work your way down. Nice and tight. Now see those points of the jungle cock? You can come in just now, trim away. That's you. Now all you've got to do now is varnish the head. Now a couple of coats of varnish will do this. Nice and smooth. And that's your candy cat. With your lights, or tail lights body, with the neon effect as they call it. It works a treat. There you go.